I talked you into this. I hope you know if I'm forcing you to, because this is always strange for people that are related to celebrities. But I think in general, this podcast, if I choose to continue it, this may never see the light of day. But if I go from here, I assume my podcast will be mostly entertainment and kind of continue down that road of music and film. Ian happens to have a superstar in the family, and I wanted him to come up with just one little story about Dick Curless, country music legend. Ian Curless shares the same name, and a lot of the same titles, honestly.
You want one story?
Whatever, yeah, it can be funny, can be just something you remember him doing. I just want something for the fans of him to say, oh yeah, I saw his grandson.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Most of his fans
are dead. Yes.
They're probably... Okay, well, this is an ageist statement, but I feel like podcasts are relatively new media.
Yes.
It takes a little bit of savvy to get to it. Some people listen to podcasts. I've definitely described podcasts to my parents.
Yes.
Who are younger than my grandfather.
Yes.
Would have been, or anybody that would have been his peer. But in the off chance that they're listening to a podcast,
you never know.
Then I would love to talk to the few that are around in that Venn diagram.
I'm going to put Dick Curless in the metadata and the tags on YouTube. So somebody, if they're searching for Dick Curless YouTube, it could come up.
All right, perfect.
So know.
Stories about him.
Yes.
Well, first of all, he's an extremely tall man, and I'll also say he passed when we were in 6th grade.
And so, just before you continue as well, give a quick bio of what he did, because I mentioned he was a country music legend, but like the song, his big single, just in case people don't.
Tombstone Every Mile.
Tombstone Every Mile.
I believe it was Capitol Records was who he was a recording artist for.
And he has a star on the Country Walk of Fame, right?
So, yes, he had a star. Okay. The Country Music Walk of Fame has changed in Nashville. Nashville's done a lot of remodeling and changing things. So it was then turned from a Walk of Fame into like a wall memoriam of people that were inducted in the years.
Yep.
I think my brother has since been down there and said that even that has changed since then. So I'm not sure what is going on down in Nashville as far as...
They don't like your family.
They have a vendetta against the Curlesses.
Yes.
No. But yeah, that was true up until probably a decade or so ago. I did get to see it.
Yep.
Before it was taken down. Anyway, so he had a big single. It was in the era of truck driving music, which was a thing.
Yep.
He was... his career was more diverse than that, but that's definitely kind of the genre that he got pegged into.
Yep.
A lot of gospel. I mean, the whole recording industry was very different then anyway. I mean, he was incredibly prolific with how many albums was put out. It's insane, actually.
I wanted to mention, too, because it's my favorite part about all the pictures in your house. He wore an eye patch, correct?
He did. He did wear an eye patch.
Can you elaborate on that? Was that more of a stage thing, or
it was kind of a signature
around?
move? It was a trademark. He used it most of the time, even in private life. It was on.
So he did have full 20/20 vision of both eyes.
No, it wasn't full 20/20. There was still something up with one of his eyes.
Yeah.
But
either way, I like it. I think it's great.
Oh, it's neat,
that's my most memorable thing of.
Ironically, and this where the holes in my memory is really good, but there was a contemporary of his that also had an eye patch. I wish I could remember his name, but I don't have a name for them. But anyway, back to him. He #1 single, or it was a top 10 charting single. Tombstone Every Mile.
Yep.
And let's see. He was known as the Baron of country music. A little bit. First of all, extremely tall man. This is what I want to say.
Yeah.
Now, you and I are like 5'11", 6 foot.
Yep.
He was 6 foot. More. He was more than 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
He wore a size 13 boot.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid,
Yeah.
a man that's over 6 feet tall was, I mean, gigantic.
Are you saying
gigantic.
like 6'4", 6'6"? Like what? How gigantic?
Isn't that funny that I don't know exactly?
Well, yeah.
how
I mean,
was,
especially like you said when you're a kid.
I wasn't really looking up stats on my
your
grandfather when I was.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So here's you want a story, but let me just give you more of a perspective. Here's the weird thing. To me, he was just my grandfather, just like your grandfather was your grandfather.
Yes. Yeah. And people do forget that about celebrities.
So
they're human beings. Just like you.
But for my whole life, it happens a lot less now, but complete strangers, as soon as they found out who I was related to, would just talk to me, and tell me how they loved my grandfather, and tell me some sort of it's all positive. Remember, no one ever said your grandfather was oh, you're Dick Curless's grandson, and then they punished me for it in some way, but always positive. But it was something I really had to get used to is complete strangers, because they would talk to me with such a familiarity that was very often uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If you can imagine a 60-year-old person just launching into a really deep memory chat with like a 10-year-old kid who only cares about Transformers or Ninja Turtles or
oh, that's a great way to put it.
It's about something that your grandfather did as a job. Okay, so what did your just to put this in perspective? What did your father's father do for work?
He did a bunch of jobs, but
he delivered a main job.
He drove like I think Nabisco. I want to say.
Okay, perfect. I love that. Stop right there.
Okay, that was one of his jobs.
All right,
so
you're 10
jobs,
years. So you're 10 years old.
Yeah.
We were very into Ninja Turtles at that time, presumably.
Yeah.
Somebody finds out that you're your grandfather's grandson, and he's 60 years old, and he wants to talk about all the ins and outs of Nabisco and the delivery driving of that. And in the meantime, you're just like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
I
don't want to know you.
It's it's not that you don't want. You're standing in between me and my ability to go watch Ninja Turtles right now. It was interesting. It was very interesting.
And he had hardcore fans, right? I think, correct me if I'm
Still
wrong,
does.
but I was going to say, when your brother went to Nashville, didn't a woman come up to him that had like your grandfather's lyrics or something tattooed on her?
She has a full-on portrait of my grandfather.
So who was this? This was a random woman or somebody he knew, like your brother knew?
You're going to put me on the spot on this. I just she has a band.
So she's a musician as well.
Well, she goes under the moniker Chick Curless.
Really?
Yeah, Chick Curless, and
that's great.
Honestly, just a YouTube video just popped up of her and their band playing. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
By the way,
full on portrait tattoo. It's pretty awesome.
And in my opinion, a way you can, if you're a celebrity and you want to ask yourself, have I made it? If somebody tattooed something on their body because of something you've created or done with your life, in my mind, that means you've made it. So if somebody ever tattoos Chaz Bruns on their forehead, I'll be a happy camper.
Well, after this,
I know definitely. This is it, by the way, and this is the podcast of all podcasts. It's not like. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just want to go. So that's not a very particular story necessarily about him. That is more about me growing up. And I will also say that I had a lot of people do that. My mother also, it's a whole family of musicians.
Yes, your mother's very talented.
My mother was a professional musician for quite a while.
And your brother is in bands.
My brother, but no one comes up. No offense to my brother. No one comes up to me and goes, "Are you Ryan Curless's brother?" And then they talk to me.
That being said, though, we're not to diminish. Ryan is one of the most talented musicians I think.
I love my brother.
Come out of New England.
I love the bands that he's in.
Yeah, he's a drummer, by the way, but he does multiple stuff, right? He sings a little.
He plays tambourine too.
Yes, tambourine and the harp.
But my uncle was Bill Chinnick was a famous musician. Came out of like the Asbury Park. Came up around the same time. I've actually shared bandmates with Springsteen. So I've growing up, all of the Curless kids.
Yeah.
Very used to strangers just going on and on about the admiration for the family.
Yes.
And I'm not disparaging. I think that's really great, but interesting from a child's perspective.
Yeah.
Definitely peppered my outlook on what it might be like to be a famous person. Because if you're related to a famous person,
Yeah.
and you're getting that, I cannot. I don't know if I could handle actually being the famous person and having strangers talk to me all the time.
Now, do you think that turned you off to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because even we were talking last night about Ian and I both used to play music, and he was like, I don't even know if I picked up a guitar if I'd bring me joy in the same way it used to. I'm not motivated that way. Do you think subconsciously in your brain you're kind of like, I don't want to be that thing my grandfather is? You know?
I don't think that's why
Not why, but I mean,
put
it
down or anything like that. I mean, I still like to play.
People grow out of things. So hobbies change.
Exactly. I think that's a lot of it. But growing up, it was definitely when you and I would go out and play stuff, and play shows.
Yeah.
It definitely came to mind as to just being in front of people and then having to talk to them after.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I like? You know what? So here's a benefit to the growing up with famous family members.
Yeah.
I did have a lot of immediate access to backstage and meeting other people in the music industry.
Yeah.
That I like. And
fun.
I think that is because they're like-minded people. I might not be. I didn't pursue actually the music career, but I still really do appreciate everything that goes into the production of a song. I actually enjoy that side more.
Yeah. Well.
As well as the live performance. I think if you put on a solid live performance, nothing can beat that at all.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that. I'm very comfortable in a backstage or behind the scenes situation. I try to treat anybody like that like they're normal people. It also is another it's peppered my outlook on things. Whereas if I do see celebrities in the wild out in real life, I leave them alone.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, look, that's that guy over there. I don't even really, I mean, it probably in some cases would be nice if I went up and said, hey man, I just wanted to say I really liked what you did in this. I love this album that you put out, or this movie that you're in. But I just assume that, again, I was the family member of somebody getting strangers coming up to me, that he or she has already had that happen a dozen times that day.
Yeah.
And it may have no effect on them.
Yeah. But it also may.
It also may, but I also just like to let them be and just be like, you know what? I'll let somebody else gush in my place. It doesn't change my outlook. All right. So he did teach me to play guitar. So that's something I got.
That's pretty cool. Now, did you enjoy that process? Because when I took guitar lessons when I was younger, it wasn't fun. Your fingers hurt, and I remember arguing with my parents saying, I actually dropped out of my lessons and went and taught myself.
Well, it wasn't.
So was it fun? Like, was it a bonding experience, or were you like, Grandpa?
It was a bonding experience.
Okay.
It was. What was cool about it is it was okay. So he didn't 100% teach me everything about guitar.
Yeah.
But he did teach me some basic chords and where to put my fingers. And he didn't treat me like a little kid. Like, he knew that I could do it. He knew that it just was going to take practice.
Yeah.
And he started pretty simple. And bar chords were really one of the big things that he taught me that I really took and ran with.
Yeah.
So no, it wasn't. I did like it.
Yeah.
It was all simple blues stuff, really.
Yeah.
Blues based We weren't doing scales. We're just doing like simple 3-chord structure. A couple where to place my fingers. He may have shown me. There's some variations that I do with maybe some of my a couple of my chords, E's and D's, with placements of my pinky.
Yeah.
That
he influenced.
Yeah, I think he may have shown me some things like that. That just like it's an automatic stylistic go-to.
Well, I hate to interrupt, but it just crossed my mind because you mentioned how his music had an effect on you. Do you think he, in the reverse, looking at you, wanted you to go into music or expected you to? And did he ever talk to you about that or show, or were you too young?
No. It wasn't talking. Definitely too young.
So he was just trying to help you have a new hobby as a young kid.
We all liked music. I wanted it.
But he never said like, "Oh, you're gonna you should sing country music and you're gonna be the next big star." Like, he never
didn't do that. But my whole family if there's one thing that we all can get along and enjoy and talk for hours about
is music.
Yeah. 100%. And a huge variety of music.
But that's cool though that you didn't feel that pressure. Because like my dad's a chiropractor, and I remember as a family member saying, "Oh, I'll probably have to become a doctor or that you kind of have that thing." So you never had that in your family.
No, it wasn't
like,
pressure.
You should all be musicians.
No,
so
if
Jackson
anything,
5.
It was like if I wanted to do that, no one was going to discourage me from saying that that's not a possibility because they'd all done it.
Yeah,
he was still doing it. My mother had done it. She gave it up she would rather have been a mother to her 3 children than being on. I mean, it's not an easy job.
No.
Your hours are different.
Yeah.
You constantly have to be in front of people, strangers, and put on a good show. I mean, if you're going to be good at it, you can be an asshole and you can go out and give your absolute word. I don't imagine you're going to get very far with that. You're on an opposite schedule. You're traveling all of the time. It's definitely easier, I would imagine, if you don't have kids or any other obligations.
I've noticed that, especially working in film and TV with the crazy hours, that a lot of America and the world really does think of entertainment as such a glamorous lifestyle, and it can be pretty miserable.
Oh no, it's a job.
Especially if you are on tour and you don't see your family and you're just dealing with yes men all around you all the time. And I don't know if that's what your grandfather's situation was, because it was a different time in the music industry. But like maybe he just wanted to be at home playing guitar with his grandson. Maybe. And actually, that's a question I would like to ask you. Do you think he enjoyed being famous? Do you think was he more into the music portion and was I'm an artist, or do you think he kind of liked the showmanship and the fame and that portion? Like, I know it's tough for you to say as a young kid looking at him, but if you look back now, what would you guess?
I honestly couldn't speculate on that other than I believe he enjoyed that. I mean, that's something he just loved music.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just evident by I think I've inherited, or it's still somewhere in one of the kids' family. We have his record collection from when he was a teenager. It's vast. Yeah. It's quite large.
Yeah.
He was very into the blues and he liked music.
Yeah, so he was a musician first and foremost.
Definitely.
I personally think that's how it goes in life. Everybody I ever knew that was out in Hollywood or New York, wherever, trying to get fame, never got it. I think the quickest way to not be famous is to seek fame.
Mm.
You have to first be about whatever it is you're doing.
He wasn't seeking that. I think it goes without saying it was a job. I mean, obviously, if you can do that, then why wouldn't you do that versus shoveling coal?
Yes.
It certainly is more. It lends itself to being more glamorous.
I mean,
it still
I don't
is
know.
work.
I would
still work.
If I could shovel coal, that is my dream job.
Well, not. I mean, I'm saying if that's.
No, I know.
If you have options, I don't think you're going to take that job. I think you're probably just your mind's going to gravitate towards what would seem like a fun job, and I'm sure it is a fun job, but I just want to say, like, it goes. There's work that goes into it. Like, it takes a lot of effort to be a true showman and be. Now, I don't think it took a ton of effort for him all of the time, but he was at the end he was a born again Christian. He was a very very kind man, a very giving man.
Yeah.
He did a lot for just complete strangers. That's a lot of the stories that I heard. Just nice things that he did.
By the way, in case anybody listening to this is saying, "Oh, well, he's his grandson," of course he's going to say that. Ian is one of the most kind-hearted and truthful people I know. He wouldn't sit here and BS the listeners. So if that's the case, I believe it.
But I'll tell you, thank you. I try to be a good person. I don't think I match what my grandfather did.
Yeah.
For just people. That he came across all the time.
It's interesting to me to hear you say that, because I've never truly, honestly, now I think about it, in all our years, we've talked off and on about your grandfather, but not in depth like this. And so from the pictures and videos and different things I've seen, especially with the eye patch, especially me being young, in 6th grade at your house, hearing about the stuff, I think, oh, this is a badass pirate, cowboy, tough guy. But so to hear that he actually was just a genuine, caring, kind-hearted guy later in life, or maybe his whole life as well, but at least from your perspective later in life, that's cool. I for some reason assumed he was a badass tough guy. I don't know. I've never ever questioned that. I've always in my head just thought, Ian's grandfather's this badass.
I mean, it's got the look.
Yeah,
it's definitely got the look. That has the look so much that his likeness was the basis of a comic book villain in the Ghost Rider series.
Really?
Oh yeah, I have it somewhere. It's pretty neat.
That's pretty damn cool. Something I wanted to rewind to before I forget, because you mentioned
the Highwayman. That's what I think he was. It looks just like him. It's funny.
Yeah, that's cool. No, when you mentioned his record collection, I was thinking of other things that he owned. Can you explain this to me? Didn't at one point, I don't know if you still have it, I think your grandmother sold it, but didn't he have a train car in his backyard, like a full train or a piece of a train or something?
He had a full set of trains.
It used to be a working caboose, or what was it?
It was on a set of tracks.
Yeah.
Off of set of working tracks up in Bangor.
Yeah.
It was, let's see, it was a plow car.
Yeah. So a huge plow on the front.
Huge plow. Yeah. So
and you got to play when
train.
As a kid.
Yeah, for when train was train travel was more prevalent, and then I imagine they still use them now, but in big areas where you get a large amount of snow.
Yeah.
Just like for roads, there's a plow front car that exists.
Yeah.
It's really cool looking. It's fun to climb on when you're 6 years old.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and it
was nice inside. It was furnished.
Okay, so hold on. There were 4 cars after that, I believe.
Okay.
There were a couple. There was a box car. There was a
4
box
cars.
car. Yeah,
I always assumed there was one car.
No, I think it's 4.
He had 4 train cars.
I'm going through it mentally. There was a
That's
box
cool.
car after the plow.
Yeah.
And then I think 2 passenger cars.
Yeah.
And then a caboose.
Okay.
That had kind of he sometimes utilized as an office.
Really?
And yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Because
I kind of pictured.
Neat. It was really
I've never
neat
seen it
to grow up on. It's still there. It was sold. I think the person that bought it, I think actually turned them into. He furnished it and kind of lives in it.
Okay,
predating tiny house stuff.
Yeah. And he lives. No kidding. Yeah, I remember when you would tell me this, because I never went to see it, but you would tell me this as a kid, and I for some reason pictured an old rusty, dilapidated in a field thing. But you're telling me this was
it was rusty.
Yeah. I mean, it's old. It was old. Right?
It was old, and
do you know what
definitely
year?
Part of it. No idea. Okay. Definitely part of it was dilapidated. I mean, we weren't supposed to play on it. It was at the edge of the property.
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to play on it.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
You had to be careful.
Yeah.
A lot of the wood rails and steps and stuff were completely rotting away. So you had to be smart and step on the metal supports and not directly in the middle of the step that was going to give away.
Yeah.
I distinctly, and I was just talking about this a couple of weeks ago, we had a major snowstorm when we were growing up, when probably 2nd grade or something like that.
Yeah.
And when you're in second grade, you're not a very tall person anyway.
Yeah.
But we combine that with the amount of snowfall that we had that winter.
Yeah.
I took my sister out, Ashley.
Yeah.
We went and climbed. I had the genius idea to climb on top of the boxcar. I think it was the boxcar, because there were metal ladders attached to the side. You can climb up on top, flat surface, safe.
Yeah,
safe for a second grader to climb up on. And I had the genius idea to just jump off, because the snow was so deep, it was above our heads. Yeah. So you could just boom, fall into a cloud.
Now, was he? You said he didn't really want you to play on them, right? But was
he didn't? My parents didn't.
But so did he see these things as prized possessions? Like, was he into trains, or did he just buy this property and the train was already there? Like, how did he even come to have this train?
I don't know the story.
Because I always pictured that he was
definitely
like a train
bought
lover.
it. It wasn't just on.
Think about that, right? Say you're somebody that has this massive train. I'm assuming a company, American Railroad Company X or whatever, and they must be like, well, we've got this old train, we need to get rid of it. Do you think somebody approached him and they're like, hey, Dick Curless, you can afford a train? Or do you think he like walked by it one day and was like, hey, Bob, what are you doing with that train? And then how did he get it to his backyard? The tracks ran too close to the house.
I don't know. I mean, I assume a crane.
Really?
Right? I don't know.
So awesome.
Like I said, it sat on some tracks.
Yeah.
And was parallel to working tracks.
Yeah.
The house that he built.
Yeah.
Was near train tracks at the edge of the property.
Yeah.
The train would come through pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And we would, when we heard it coming, it was really fun. You could flip the lights.
Yeah.
To the porch,
yep,
up, off and on, and most of the train engineers that were
blow the horn.
They'd toot the horn. It was awesome. Yeah. There was like nothing cooler.
I was gonna say there is nothing. Even with a little kid just doing it with the semi trucks going by.
I was gonna say it's like that, but to be able to get a train to
and probably
honk the
5
horn
times as loud, right?
It was great. Yeah. It was absolutely great. Yeah, absolutely. A train horn is much louder.
I can imagine
than a semi.
Being the neighbor. Did you have close neighbors or not?
No, that was all. I mean, it was all rural.
I'm picturing the neighbors, right? And they're like, "Oh, did you hear Dick Curless bought a house? He's moving next door. Oh, that's neat." And then a crane shows up. It's bringing.
I don't know, but it's got to be
dropping a train in the yard. Like,
know how else
it would have been. That's so bad. Like, can you picture him standing there with his hand on his hip with his eye patch on, just looking like a badass as a crane drops a train in his back.
He also had a horse.
The man.
They also had a horse at one point.
Of course he did. Of course he.
They also had. That was technically my aunt's, I think.
Yeah.
He also had a fire truck on the property.
There you go. Why not?
An old engine. That was pretty neat. I can't.
Oh, a fire engine.
Yeah, fire engine.
Yeah. So was it like almost like was it a playground for you guys? Like, why? That almost sounds like Disney World,
that.
Toys and animals. And
I treated it. There was a lot of stuff that you weren't supposed to touch. Yeah. Now he used the trains mostly as storage.
Yeah. Okay.
Just the same way that like somebody might get one of those like empty storage containers.
Yeah.
And put it on their property and use that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that is the impetus of him having that on there.
Now,
it also is probably just, I don't know, it's probably cool if you had the opportunity.
Yeah.
To be like, I got some trains on my property.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. Like in my opinion, that's the epitome of like.
I put stuff on in there instead of in a storage unit.
Yeah,
I put it in my train.
Yeah. Now I wanted to transition here real quick, because we were talking about whether he was into trains or whatever he was into. Obviously, we know he was into music. What else were his hobbies or passions? Like, do you remember? Did he like to go swimming? Did he like taking the dog for what other things? I know it's different because he was older, right? He's your grandfather, so by that time,
you got to remember
that age, your hobbies kind of die off.
Well, you got to remember he was working.
Yeah, so he was probably on tour a lot, right?
He's working
right up to the day he died. Or?
Not right up until, but right up until before he got sick and before he got hospitalized and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was working.
So he probably didn't have a lot of time for really much of anything.
No, that was what he did.
Yeah.
That's what he did. and when he wasn't doing that, it was like I said, he was a serious born again Christian. So there were daily devotional.
And your grandmother is as well, or no?
Yeah, she's Christian people.
How did that work family-wise? Was there ever any headbutting? Because I know not everybody in every family is religious. I'm not speaking of yours. I'm saying every family. There's people that are into it and they're not. Was that ever an issue with your grandparents and, say, your dad or anybody else, or was it?
No, I don't think so.
That's lucky. Because born again, I have a few born again Christians in my family as well, and that's definitely headbutts during Thanksgiving. And
I think there is always an element of religion with my family.
No. Are you yourself? Do you consider yourself Christian or religious in any way?
Not at all.
So he did not rub off on you. You didn't say, "I'm going to be a born again."
As a kid, it was.
Did he
expect you?
Did he want you to go to church? Did you ever go to church with him?
I don't think I ever went to church with him.
Yeah.
There was a time before we moved up from Massachusetts that we were going to Sunday school.
Would he pray before meals?
Oh yeah.
The whole 9 yards.
Very much. Yeah.
Did he ever get mad at you about anything in terms of like morals and stuff? Like I remember my grandfather once caught me smoking a fake cigarette and gave me hell about it. So was there ever anything as a kid where he's like, "Ian, Jesus will judge you," or anything in that nature? No,
I don't. Nothing. So
that's cool. So he was a born again that didn't push it on other people. That's interesting to me because most.
I don't think he had to push it.
I don't mean to speak in generalities, but a lot of born agains can be.
No. I just don't think he had to. It wasn't like an agenda. Yeah. It was always in what he was.
Yeah.
He found a presence of God in everything. He was devoted, but he wasn't out on a crusade trying to recruit or change everybody. He was just trying to live a really nice and honest and faith-based life.
That's cool. On that note, actually, I was going to try to wrap it up for at least this portion. If you had a suggestion for any fans of your grandfather that are listening for a specific song that they should go and check out aside from that single,
all I would say is, I don't have a particular favorite song.
No.
His catalog is vast.
How many albums do you know?
I don't know. I mean, I know that Bear Family Records, which I believe is out of they're either out of Germany or Norway.
Yeah. They own his catalog?
No, they don't necessarily own his catalog. They put out 2 different box sets.
Yep.
They were very large. I mean, by the way, a box set is when CDs were prevalent, and you used to get many CDs in one box, and they would come with a glossy book with a lot of information.
Yes.
Bear Family Records did 2 really great box sets of his music,
That's
and
cool.
they did a great job at talking about how he was more than just a truck driving song guy. Because that was a fad. It was a trend.
Yeah.
It was brief. There were other people that did it, but I mean, he did more than that. He's a great singer.
The single that is a Tombstone Every Mile, that's correct? That's the title. I really do actually enjoy that song, though. And I would say if somebody out there is listening to this and they aren't aware or aren't a fan, they want to go check them out, I would listen to Tombstone Every Mile. Right?
I think it's a great place to start. Absolutely. It's a catchy song.
Yeah.
I think there's other more dynamic songs that he's done that kind of show his vocal range and
Can you think of one off the top of your head?
No, I can't. I'm terrible at that.
He's rolling over in his grave right now going, what did I teach you with that guitar that day?
Yep.
Bad grandson. I'm just joking. You are an amazing human being. I'm sure he is looking down on you from the heavens with much appreciation.
Thanks.
And on that note, let me see if there's anything else on here. I did not think the computer would run this long, honestly. You just watched a segment of the show Chasms of the Mind. To see the full episode, click the link below.